Dear friends, today we are going to discuss the topic light quality versus quantity. The main objective of the topic are brief introduction about light and electromagnetic spectrum, to explain different aspects of plants growth in response to light quality, to understand the concept of photosynthetic active radiations, to study in detail photomorphogenesis in response to light quality, to give a brief account of photoreceptors responsible for different photomorphogenetic responses with respect to light quality, to introduce briefly the concept of light quantity and a detailed account of different aspects of plant growth and development in response to light quantity. Before going into details of the topic, let me give you a brief introduction about the topic. Light is an electromagnetic radiation emitted and absorbed in tiny packets called photons and exhibit both wave and particle nature. Every electromagnetic wave has a particular wavelength, and different types of radiations have different characteristic ranges of wavelengths. Plants require light for growth and development, but the two different aspects of light, namely quantity and quality, do have a significant role on plant growth and development. So, our focus will be on these two issues, light quality and light quantity. Let us discuss in detail light in terms of quality and its different effects on growth and development of plants. Light quality refers to the spectral composition and energy distribution as a function of wavelength effective in photosynthesis and other plant growth processes. The sun emits wavelengths between 280 nanometer to 2800 nanometers. These wavelengths are divided into three main regions: ultraviolet light, its wavelength range between 100 to 380 nanometers, visible light, wavelength ranges between 380 to 780 nanometers, and infrared radiations, its wavelength range between 700 to 3000 nanometers. Visible light is further divided into different bands, that is violet, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. This range is known as photosynthetically active radiation region. Let us now discuss the effects of light quality on growth towards different wavelengths of light. The responses of plants to light quality are manifold and have been studied in almost every major group of plants. Among different wavelengths within the PAR, red light wavelength perfectly fits the absorption peak of chlorophylls and phytochromes. Therefore, red light would be the most efficient light for the plant yield. However, the combination of red and blue light provides better excitation of photoreceptors, including phytochromes, cryptochromes and phytotropins, and results in higher photosynthetic activity than plants under either monochromatic red or blue light. Blue light increases the ratio of chlorophyll A, B and improves the activities of main photosynthetic enzymes, namely ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate carboxylase and phosphoenol pyruvate carboxylase. Blue light also promotes stomatal opening and thus improves photosynthesis per unit surface area of leaf. In addition to red and blue light, photosynthetically less efficient radiations, that is far red, green, ultraviolet lights are also important environmental signals to plants. For instance, far red light reverses the effect of phytochrome, leading to changes in gene expression, plant architecture and reproductive response. Far red light causes increase in stem elongation, strengthening of apical dominance, accelerates flowering, reduces storage assimilation and also causes reduction in seed quality and seed set. It has been found that green light has the lowest quantum yield, but can penetrate deeper into the plant canopy due to its high transmittance and reflectance than other wavelengths of light. Therefore, quantum yield of a dense plant canopy should be more equalized under green light. In addition to intercepting red and blue light, phytochromes and cryptochromes also absorb green light, which explains why green light affects vegetative growth, organ growth, and plant tropism. UV light is generally considered a stress factor to plants and leads to smaller plants, reduced photosynthesis, and lower biomass accumulation. But it has been found that appropriate UV light treatment increases plant yield in some species. Light quality is also very important in concentrating different secondary metabolites in plants under different stress conditions. For example, increase in activities of key metabolic enzymes leading to enhanced synthesis of pigments. For example, key enzymes in the synthesis of anthocyanin, the expression of phenylalanine ammonia lyase, chalcone synthase, dihydroflavanol 4 reductase, increase under the blue light, resulting in an enhanced accumulation of anthocyanin polyphenol oxidase that cause enzymatic browning of tissues, which is assumed to play a role in plant defense against different biotic stresses through the production of reactive oxygen species. Photosynthetic pigments are present in chloroplast in green plants or cytoplasmic membranes in photosynthetic bacteria. These pigment molecules capture light energy necessary for photosynthesis, and different types of photosynthetic pigments present in different organisms. For example, chlorophyll A is a blue-green pigment, chlorophyll B is a yellow-green pigment, chlorophyll C is a brown-colored pigment, chlorophyll D is a red-colored pigment, carotene is an orange pigment, and xanthophyll is a yellow pigment. Now, let us discuss different photoreceptors. Among them, first is phytochrome. Phytochrome is a photoreceptor that absorbs both in red and far red spectrum of light. Red and far red spectra of light are involved in phytochrome mediated photomorphogenetic responses of the plants, namely flower induction, stem elongation, chloroplast development, seed germination, etc. Phytochrome pigment is found to be present in two photoreversible forms, red light absorbing PR form and far red light absorbing PFR form. The PR form absorbs red light and is converted to PFR form, which is an active form, while as PFR form absorbs in the far red spectrum and is converted back to inactive PR form. This phenomenon is termed as photoreversibility. PFR forms can also spontaneously over time revert back to the PR form in the dark, called dark reversion. Another type of photoreceptor is cryptochrome. Cryptochrome is a blue light photoreceptor of plants, insects, and mammals, and plays an important role in the generation of circadian rhythms. Cryptochrome absorbs in the blue spectrum with absorption peaks at 380 nanometers and 450 nanometers. Another photoreceptor is phytotropin that has a major role in phototropism and chloroplast movements. Chloroplast movement in leaves is an adaptive feature that helps to control light absorption and prevent photooxidative damage. Now, let us discuss absorption spectra of different pigments. A graph showing degree of absorption of light by a pigment as a function of wavelength is called as an absorption spectrum. Chlorophyll A has a maximum absorption at 430 and 660 nanometers. Chlorophyll B has a maximum absorption at 463 and 643 nanometers. Similarly, carotenoids have maximum absorption at 400 and 500 nanometers. Now, action spectra. Action spectra is a graph showing degree to which a particular wavelength affect photochemical reactions. An action spectrum for oxygenic photosynthetic organisms can be constructed from the measurements of oxygen evolution at different wavelengths. Now we will discuss in detail few responses of plants to quality of light. Quality of light acts as an important signal to initiate and regulate different photomorphogenetic responses in plants. Three main wavelengths that affect different types of growth processes in plants are red, far red, and blue light. Different types of responses as function of light quality are mentioned below. Number first is de-etiolation of dark grown seedlings. Dark grown seedlings undergo etiolation and are characterized by long hypocotyl, closed cotyledon and apical hooks, and development of the propoplastids into etioplastis. On the other hand, light grown seedlings undergo photomorphogenesis, that is de-etiolation, and are characterized by short hypocotyls, open and expanded cotyledons, and development of propoplastids into green and mature chloroplasts. Phytochrome is a key hormone that regulates seedling de-etiolation. Researchers have shown that there are two classes of phytochromes with distinct properties. These have been termed type 1st and type 2nd phytochrome. Type 1st is about 9 times more abundant than type 2nd in dark grown seedlings, while in case of light grown seedlings, the amounts of both types are equal. Phytochrome is encoded by a multi-gene family named as PHY, and 5 individual members are PHYA, PHYB, PHYC, PHYD and PHYE. PHYA gene is transcriptionally active in dark grown seedlings, but its expression is strongly inhibited in the light in monocots. It has been observed that in dark grown oats, treatment with red light reduces phytochrome synthesis because the PFR form of phytochrome inhibits the expression of its own gene. In addition, the PHYA mRNA is unstable, so once etiolated, oat seedlings are transferred to light. PHYA mRNA rapidly disappears, but the inhibitory effect of light on PHYA transcription is less dramatic in dicots. Therefore, oats and other monocots rapidly lose most of their type 1st phytochrome, that is PHYA, in the light as a result of a combination of factors, that is inhibition of transcription, mRNA degradation and proteolysis. Second photomorphogenetic response is circadian rhythms. Phytochrome also interacts with circadian rhythms at the level of gene expression. We have LHCb gene family responsible for circadian rhythms. The expression of genes in the LHCb family encoding the light harvesting chlorophyll AB binding proteins of photosystem II is regulated at the transcription level by both circadian rhythms and phytochrome. In leaves of pea and wheat, the levels of LHCb mRNA has been found to oscillate during daily light dark cycles, rising in the morning and falling in the evening. Since the rhythm persists even in continued darkness, it appears to be a circadian rhythm, but phytochrome can perturb this cyclical pattern of expression. When wheat plants are transferred from a cycle of 12 hours light and 12 hours dark to continuous darkness, the rhythm persists for a while, but it slowly damps out. However, if the plants are given a pulse of red light before they are transferred to continuous darkness, no such dampening occurs. That is, the level of LHCb mRNA continue to oscillate as they do during the light dark cycles. In contrast, a far red flash at the end of day prevents the expression of LHCb in continuous darkness, and the effect of far red is thus reversed by red light. Third photomorphogenetic response is nycticity. The sleeping movements of leaves is referred to as nycticity. It is a well described example of plant circadian rhythm that is regulated by light In Nycnaste, leaves or leaflets extend horizontally, that is, they open to face the light during the day, and fold together vertically, that is, they close at night. Nycnastic leaf movements are exhibited by many legumes such as Mimosa, Albizia, as well as members of Oxalis family. The change in leaf or leaflet angle is caused by rhythmic turgor changes in the cells of pulvinus, a specialized structure at the base of petiole. Once initiated, the rhythm of opening and closing persists even in constant darkness, both in whole plants and in isolated leaflets. The phase of the rhythm, however, can be shifted to various exogenous signals, including red or blue light. Fourth response is chloroplast movement. Light-induced changes in the cellular distribution or orientation of chloroplasts have been observed in nearly all green plants, including algae, mosses, ferns, and angiosperms. Under the low light conditions, chloroplasts accumulate along the cell walls that are perpendicular to the incident light. Under high light conditions, they accumulate along the walls that are parallel to the incident light. These are the regions of the plant leaf cells where internal pulvinus rates of the light are the highest and lowest respectively. And it is believed that light-induced chloroplast movements serves as an adaptive function. In algae, moss, and fern, both red and blue light can cause chloroplast movement. In terrestrial angiosperms, chloroplast movements have been shown to be blue light specific, but the red far red Phytochrome photoreceptors appears to play a role in modulating this response. Let us now discuss light in terms of its quantity. Light quantity refers to the total amount of light that a plant receives or degree of brightness that a plant is exposed to. In contrast to light quality, the description of light quantity does not consider wavelength or color. Few terms regarding light quantity are given below. Pulvinus, it is the number of photons impinging on a unit surface area of leaf. Its units are moles per square meter. Another term is irradiance. Irradiance is defined as pulvinus rate, that is pulvinus per unit time. Its units are moles per meter square per second. Now we will discuss in detail light quantity responses. Few responses of light quantity are very low pulvinus response, low pulvinus response, high irradiance response. Now we will define very low pulvinus response. Very low pulvinuses can be initiated by pulvinuses below 1 micromole meter square. These are of reversible nature. Low pulvinus responses are initiated by pulvinuses of 1 micromole per meter square and are saturated at 1000 micromole per meter square. Photoreversibility responses of phytochromes are examples of low pulvinus responses. These are irreversible in nature. High irradiance response requires prolonged exposure to light of relatively high photon flux, that is more than 1000 micromole per meter square. The high irradiance response does not show red and far red photoreversibility. Now we will study in detail phototropism. Photoperiodism is the ability of the plants to detect relative lengths of light and dark periods for an event to occur at a particular time of the year. Based on the nature of response, plants have been classified into following broad categories. Short day plants. These are the plants that flower only in short days. Number second is long day plants. These are the plants that flower only in long days. The essential distinction between long day and short day plants is the flowering in long day plants is promoted when the day length exceeds a certain duration, called the critical day length, in a 24-hour cycle. Whereas promotion of flowering in short day plants requires a day length that is less than the critical day length. In photoperiodic responses, it is the length of dark period that determines the response. For example, in short day plants, if dark period is interrupted by a brief flash of light, the response is reversed, that is flowering is inhibited. While as night break of a long day plant under short day conditions promotes flowering. Finally, we have day neutral plants. These are the plants that flower regardless of the length of the light period to which they are exposed. For example, tomato, rice and corn. This was all about today's lecture. Hope you have understood. Thanks.